Okay, so here's the deal. I got nerd tendencies, but I'm still trying to look good while I'm representing some of my favorites like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mega Man, Legend of Zelda, Rick and Morty, Walking Dead. But at the same time, I'm looking around and it's hard not to look like a tool when all these shirts come from big box stores or places in the mall where anybody can get them, and sometimes the prints aren't even all that looking good. So what could I do to stand out but still have people being like, "Oh man, that shirt is hitting"? Well, I got something for you. Are you listening? RIPTapparel.com. RippedApparel.com. That's where you want to be. The beauty of Ripped Apparel, they do limited edition. That's limited edition for you guys, not quick. What that means, they only do 3 prints a day of a particular style of design. That means if you miss that 24-hour window, too bad, so sad, it is gone. But the beauty of the situation is, and the positive that we need to take from this, everybody's not going to be running around with the same kind of look that you've got. And you're able to represent what you're into stylishly. So it behooves you to check this site out every day so that you can see the cool stuff that they got going on, including the Legend of Zelda mashups I've seen. They've had a mashup one time where they had all the members of the Ninja Turtles looking like the members of Kiss. They had Rick and Morty Reservoir Dogs, all sorts of cool stuff. So what you want to do is make sure that you're favoriting and bookmarking RIPT Apparel, Ripped Apparel, every chance you get, checking out every day for the cool designs that they got. And keep in mind, they're able to hook it up in t-shirts, posters, track jackets, tank tops, however it is that you want to get your fandom across while still looking unique and stylish. Don't forget, they got free shipping on domestic orders over $50. And at the moment, they've got an entire store off coupon code, 25% off. Just use the code GETREADY. Ripped Apparel, when you're trying to look like a nerd, but you're still trying to be like, "Oh man, you looking good today," go and get yours. Why should you have to sacrifice your fandom for the sake of looking good when you can do both? Ripped Apparel.
It's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the soul seductive sounds of the Soul City Shouty. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Sugar D.
I swear to God, it can't be Silky. It's got to be something like a poly blend or something to that effect that he's got in his voice at this moment when he calls out your man, Sugar D. I appreciate that, and I want y'all to get comfortable, sit on down. We got a hell of a show planned for you today. Welcome to the first ever edition of Funny Cash Shows. We ain't got to worry about getting canceled because I ain't worried about no ratings. We just having a good time here tonight. So, everybody been asking me for the longest time, "Yo, Shuggy, when are you coming out with a show?" Well, as a professional wrestler, pelvic sorcerer, general chocolatey man, I just was waiting for the right time to have something to say so I could spread it to the masses. And here we are. I know if I wanted to have a show that was specifically about professional wrestling, the market's already covered. You got Colt Cabana, you got Chris Jericho, you got Steve Austin, Jim Ross. Everybody's in on it. So I just wanted to take it a step further. Now, just because I am involved in the realm of professional wrestling doesn't mean that my stories, the topics that I want to bring up, the lessons that I want to instill aren't going to be ones that don't apply to people who want to succeed. As a matter of fact, you'd be very surprised how, I guess the word I'm looking for is comparable, that a lot of the situations are when you're trying to make it, when you're trying to do great things in this world. So I don't care if you're stocking groceries at the supermarket or if you're trying to get the next big role in a George Lucas film. The bottom line is success comes with stress and a whole lot of mess. So we might as well talk a little bit about it, laugh about it, have some good times, and maybe, just maybe, every week I'll give you an opportunity and a chance to be able to look at what you got going on, say, hey, it is worth soldiering through, and be able to find some joy in whatever it is that you do. So glad you could join us. So glad. Now, the hot topic of this episode, not to be confused with the store that sells an abundance of Bullet Club shirts and also just cool shirts in general. Hey, plug. You know, I'm just giving out plugs right now. I could use the sponsorship. That being said, I just can't help but feel like people do not see the potential in people anymore, the promise in people anymore. All they see is their present. And that's rough. It's rough for anyone that wants to make something happen for themselves in the world. A lot of people get wrapped up on the fact of what can you do for me now at this point in time? Sorry, I didn't do that ratchet enough. What could you do for me now? But the fact of the matter is, you have to be able to recognize that potential and that promise in people because you never know what they turn into. That same person that's pushing the mop at that building could be the one that's running that whole department, that whole section when it's all said and done. But nobody ever looks at that. That's especially true in my profession of professional wrestling. You got people that are super low on the card, trying to get a chance, sending those emails, grinding away, trying to get a spot. And a lot of the times, promoters or bookers in general will look at those people, see that they don't have anything to offer them in the present, and blow them off. Now, there's a difference in how you handle yourself when it comes to how you deal with that kind of stuff. Now, when you're in that position of power like that, you can still show respect to people who are just trying to get an opportunity. Now, the people that lord their power over you, they treat you as if, you're a second-class citizen. Why are you bothering me? You're wasting my time. That's a real... Hold on. Did I curse yet? I think I'm about to drop the first, dirty word on my show. This is definitely going to be a milestone. Don't be a dick about it. All they ask for, if they're respectfully coming to you, is an opportunity that you just can't give right now. You don't see the value in them at the moment. So that's fair. You can go ahead and you can accept that at that point. But you also can accept the fact that you can show them a little respect in the meantime. Hey, turn them down with some class. They asked you with class. Now, if they're going ahead and they're sending you an email like, yo, dog, what's up? You got any bookings? My man, y'all booking? What the fuck's up with them bookings? Then sure, go ahead and be the biggest dick in the yard. But that said, if people are trying to show you respect for your position so that they can get a position, you're in a position to actually treat somebody correct. Show them a little respect. And at the same time, not turn somebody who wants to seek that opportunity into a potential enemy later down the road. Because that's what happens. People hold grudges. People get mad. People feel some type of way. Just be good to each other. That's all I ask. And a lot of the times, those people in power don't recognize the fact that those people with the promise and potential that they couldn't see go on to become those people that they're knocking down the door of later on. And you know what happens? They start giving you what I like to call a petty tax. No, I'm not talking about a bill that sits on Capitol Hill. I'm talking about the petty tax. Ooh, that sounds kind of good. I didn't even know I could hit that note. Thanks, Keith. You let me borrow a little bit of the silk there. Jodeci, watch out. If you need a fill-in, I'm here. Sorry, I got a show. Anyway, the petty tax. You guys may have questions about that. Don't I already get taxes taken out of my check? Is it something that I can exempt? Is that something that I have to get filed in before April the 15th? No. The petty tax is its own special category of tax. We deal with it all the time, whether we're expecting it or whether we are not expecting it. A lot of the times, I'm going to be real with you though, you're bringing it on yourself because of how you treat people. The petty tax is levied when you rub somebody the wrong way and you still have to do business with them. So what ends up happening is they either end up making it a little harder for you to do business, putting a little bit more on your plate, or they charge you an amount that you probably wouldn't have got charged in the first place if you acted right. Perfect example of the petty tax at work. Now, remember when I told you that there's a lot of things that are similar, like in other forms of, especially the entertainment industry, where you're submitting yourself, you're putting yourself out there so that you can go ahead and hopefully land that job, that gig, that spot. So you're reaching out and you're pretty much putting some form of a resume or a sales pitch out there. Same thing in professional wrestling on an independent level. So you got bookers and promoters that you reach out to. You send that email or you send some pictures or some photos kind of letting them know location, price, looking to get on, all that good stuff like that. So I had a situation like that in the Midwest where, speaking of which, got a lot of love out there. Appreciate you guys. Indiana, Chicago, that St. Louis area, they've been extra good to me. And you'll find me on a lot of shows out there if you actually go ahead and do the research on me. My Twitter, at Sugardunkerton, you're able to see a lot of shows that I post about. That being said, there was definitely a major promotion out there that I definitely wanted to work for. So I went ahead and I reached out to them, and I actually had a number of people vouch for me because, as you know, it's not what you do sometimes, it's who you know. That's not a bad thing unless you had to, perform a little cunning of the linguist to be able to get the spot, but that's another show for another day. That being said, I went ahead and I made sure that I sent my stuff in, very respectful, very polite about wanting the shot. I also made sure that I showed up to shows at times, made sure to help out, offered myself up for dark matches, things of that nature. So this is where the anger on my part came in. I barely got acknowledged. It felt real cliquey. And then on top of that, I just kind of got treated like an afterthought, not even a person, just even sticking around. You got to understand, I'm coming 12 hours from Georgia, like to be able to go ahead and get that opportunity. And it just felt like a waste. Like, I could have been anywhere in the world doing anything else. And I'm trying so hard to be able to prove my worth and my value to this company, and they're not showing me no love whatsoever. Waiting around, I was looking for the match order on the pre-show, and I literally had a guy come up when all he had to tell me was, no, they just didn't have a slot for me that night. But the guy literally comes up to me when I'm asking, and I'm looking at the dry erase board, putting names on there. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, I didn't know if this was the finished format or whatnot. And the guy's like, look, if you didn't say that your name was on the format, it's not up there. That's all there is to it. Staring me down. Full on dick mode switch turned on. Who wants to be around that? That same situation could have been diffused with just saying, hey, all the slots are filled. You're welcome to hang out, though. That's simple. People do not think of the little things that they say that cause huge ripples later on when you're trying to have to deal with people, especially if you got no other choice but to deal with those people later down the line. And that's exactly what happened. Almost, I'd say like a year later, I was actually approached. And this is after I built my value even further in that same scene. And they were looking to get some new talent on. That being said, they went ahead and they reached out to me, wanted to bring me in, was wondering what my price was. I most certainly could have offered them a lower price. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal, the extra that I was charging. But then the pettiness sneaks in. Yes, yes, yes. Petty LaBelle was singing in my ear, and I was just, hey, you know what? I went this far without them. If they really want me, they're going to pay whatever number I throw out there. So I went ahead and put my number out there, but then I made sure to add, I'd say 35%, maybe 40% petty tax. So of course I get met with, hey, well, I don't even pay some of my guys around this area that much, this and that, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, it's a principality thing. That's the beauty. I know principality. Is principality a word? It doesn't sound like it should be a word. It's just like how conversate Should be a word, not converse. But it is what it is. Like, feel free to leave a comment or tweet me or whatever it is if I'm getting it totally wrong. I mean, geez, I don't sound like an English major right now. Oh my God, this is terrible. Bear with me. Bear with me. That said, yo, I couldn't help myself but to stand by that price. I knew I was adding extra on. Just to be that guy, just to be that dick back. But I didn't even care. And it was one of those situations where that could have been bad business on my part, losing out on a booking. But at the same time, when you got the petty in your eyes, when it's running through your veins, you don't even care. You just want to get that little twinge of revenge in the slightest manner so that you can feel like you got the one up. So yeah, I stood by my number. And the beauty, they paid it! Oh my God, it was so good. And yeah, after that, I worked with them. Everything was good. Unfortunately, they're still not operating, but it is what it is. I mean, I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and I got paid plus petty tax. Can't be mad at that. But in an alternate timeline, and I love to talk about alternate timelines, that easily could have been something where if they had just showed a little class about the how they told me in terms of they just didn't have any use for me, that same scenario could have came up a year later and it wouldn't have been such a big deal trying to hold to that number, or I guess in hindsight feel like I'm overcharging. But at the same time, it is what it is. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be petty at times. Sometimes petty is retribution. Sometimes we just need to call it what it is. Retribution just needs to be had at times. I think I read a meme the other day where it was like, cause no harm, but don't take shit. If it comes to a case where somebody just shovels it on you real quick and you had to take it, sometimes you got to put a little bit back in their front yard. And that's just what ended up happening in this situation. So that's a valuable lesson that I feel like I need to give to people that are in those power play positions who don't see the promise or potential in people. Just remember, you are sitting on that throne. You could be a good ruler, you could be a bad ruler with it. But just remember, these are those same people that are going to have to serve you at some point, that you're going to have to ask to serve you. To me, I feel like it's just common sense. But you know what they say? Common sense is not so common. For those people in that leadership or that ownership position, don't get drunk on the power. And most of all, your literal interactions with people who eventually will go from your potential to your present can determine a lot about how hard they're going to go for you, or even if they're going to want to go hard for you in the future. You never know, that one handshake, that one blow off, that conversation that you just take for granted could be with the person that's going to be the one to elevate you both and take you to new heights. And nobody ever thinks about that kind of stuff because they're just so worried about what's happening in the now. And a lot of the times in the now, we treat people very poorly, very badly. And then we don't know it until we start looking at hindsight. And hindsight can be a bitch, especially when you're already having problems that need fixing and you can't get the proper resources to do it. That's what you don't want to get stuck on. It's just being in the past so badly with things that you wish you could fix. It's rough, dude. Now, to be fair, a lot of that potential in that present, a lot of that, the potential in that promise can be a little non-attractive. You start looking at where people come from and how they sell themselves and how they talk to you and whatnot. And I completely get why people just wouldn't give them a chance. I mean, even if they tried to charge them the petty tax later, that's not even going to be a situation because there's going to be no discussion to be had. Like, your promise and your potential doesn't even come through enough to be able to charge that to somebody at that point. And, it happens. Sometimes it's just people having bad attitudes or not knowing how to interact. A lot of the times, you just ain't grown up yet. No, I said exactly what I meant to say. It's, slang colloquialism, glow up, not grow up. Glow Up. GLO, like Soul Glow, Up. And furthermore, I'm not talking about any Jerry Curl related type stuff. I'm talking about glow up. A glow up is when you reach a new level, like you ascend to a different kind of level than where you started. Like you didn't came up. Speaking of which, Kurt Cobain's comeback. I mean, I liked you. I love that song, Drink in My Cup. It was incredible. It was life-changing for the little bit of time that it was in my MP3s. I still bang it from time to time on the playlist and whatnot, and I just don't know where you've gone. If you could come off of witness protection, please, and just, came down, hold up, please, for us, all 5 of us. To me, like a perfect example of the glow-up concept, for those who haven't paid attention, is 2 Chainz. Now, 2 Chainz hasn't really changed anything about his rap style. Like, he's still talking about that same trap stuff, same flow, all that other good stuff. But what people fail to remember is he was a part of the group Player Circle, duo, and he was going by the earth-shattering name of Titty Boy. Yep, Titty Boy. Like, I know that was like a childhood nickname for him, but that's one of those situations where you just got to kind of look at that and just be like, y'all, man, what you banging up in your stereo, dog? Oh, man, I got that Titty Boy playing up in there, man. That thing go hard. Sorry, I can't claim Titty Boy. I can't do it. Switches his name to 2 Chainz, changes his flow up a little bit, starts working with some really, really, really strong producers and gets a little hype behind his name. All of a sudden, he's one of the top rappers in the game right now. He's on a whole nother level, and it's just because he hit his glow up. A lot of people did not see his promise and his potential because it was buried in being in a group setting and his name. As soon as he changed that name up and got a chance to go ahead and do a little bit for himself, now he's on top of the trap. Everybody's listening to him. And I feel like that's a perfect example of your promise being buried. Like, I talk about that a lot too. Sometimes people have got it the whole time. It's just buried underneath a scenario. Like, okay, you might be working with some people that other people don't like. So by association, they're not trying to work with y'all when you could be the factor that's making a lot of success for yourself. It may just be how you're packaging yourself, how you're marketing yourself, something as simple as how you name yourself that people aren't paying attention. You just may not have the skill set yet. So I don't want you getting frustrated with yourself about people not seeing it yet when it may just be something along the lines of something that you tweak, or it just may not be your time yet. You just got to make sure that you keep doing you. Now, if we're looking for a perfect example on my personal life of my promise and my potential being buried, oh man, do I have a story for you, but after these commercial messages. As a professional wrestler, the hardest part isn't the bumps and bruises on your body or the miles that you accumulate, but oftentimes the fact that it is hard to find proper opportunity for the work that you're putting in. This is why Jonathan Grisham, former CZW World Champion and ROH Superstar, as a part of Search and Destroy, has come up with the Back to Basics camps. These camps are designed to give you the knowledge, techniques, and opportunity to be able to move your career forward in a positive manner. They return on December the 7th and 8th at the CZW Academy at 110 Harmon Drive, Suite 304 in Blackwood, New Jersey. December the 7th will be an all-women's camp, while December the 8th will be an all-men's camp. Both dates will be attended by Beyond Wrestling promoter and booker Drew Cordero, as well as CZW owner DJ Hyde. They will be scouting talent for companies such as Beyond Wrestling, Combat Zone Wrestling, West Side Extreme Wrestling in Germany, Women's Wrestling Revolution in WSU, with the well-traveled and current Women of Honor superstar Sumi Sakai as the head coach of the female camp on December the 7th, while Jonathan Grisham will be personally head coaching the men's camp on December the 8th. Isn't it about time you put a lock on your future and make your grind absolutely worth it? Go to backtobasicscamps.com to reserve your space and be ready to move your career to the next level. Welcome back. That's what we do. Gotta do it. Every show's got to do it. Got to do it. Got stuff going on, man. I got life situations. I want to motivate y'all, but I got to motivate my pocket too. I got to get this. So, before we left off, I said that I was going to share with you guys a prime example of my promise and my potential being completely buried to others. And it's a very embarrassing story for me at times, but it really lets me know how far I've come. I look back at it and I think on it as a time where people probably looked at me doing that, and it was one of those situations where they never thought I would go any further than that, or that was going to be the main thing that they remembered me for. And here I am. And that's just because I didn't give up. I knew that there was somebody someday was going to see what I had to offer. And now it's happening. I'm traveling. I'm doing my thing. I'm living off of this and other projects that I got going on. And I want to be able to go further and take it higher. And the reason why I stick to that and I stay to that and I stand with that is because based off of this story, I absolutely remember where I started and how I started. And I will never, ever, ever, ever forget it. So I would like to regale you all with the story of a young professional wrestler by the name of Captain Crunk and his incident at the Waleska ball field. So what seems like forever and a day ago, I get a call from Roger Gleaton, who, God bless his soul, used to be the promoter for Georgia Wrestling Promotions. It primarily ran out of like the North Georgia area. So one of the big places that he used to run was in Waleska, Georgia. Waleska, Georgia had this ball field that he would throw the ring in the middle of the field. And they would have pretty strong shows out there, you know, good stuff. So I get a phone call. At this time, I'm doing a lot of the smaller independents in Georgia. This is way before I even thought about trying to travel outside of that. And this is definitely when my skills were not paying the bills. As a matter of fact, I probably had a few overdrafts and past due notices based off of my skills, if we were talking. So I get a phone call. Hey, Captain Crunk. God. All right, let me back this up so that this makes sense. Okay, Captain Crunk. All right. I fully intend to have a supplemental material so that you're able to see Captain Crunk in his full glory. But I had I thought I was doing something. I had the yellow and black Kill Bill singlet. All right. With the katana on the front with the Japanese little characters. I had my kick pads. I was all of like 157 pounds. Had my little hat broke off to the side like T.I. You know, just barely like the anti-gravity hat. So it was like tilted just a little bit. Man, I was like, whew, I can't whistle. But that was me trying to whistle. That wasn't me sighing. That was me trying to whistle. But that's how clean I would have been. Like, well, that's how clean I thought I was, like, during that era, you know. And, of course, you know, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, Bone Crusher, it was that era for Crunk. And, like, you know, that's just what I was about. Like, I was feeling that era. So I made a character for the era. And I have all the laughs to go along with it now. So, old Captain Crunk gets the call from Georgia Wrestling Promotions, which is like a big deal at the time for me, to come and face one of the top stars around that Georgia independent area of Simon Sermon. Simon Sermon was known for being one of the first openly gay professional wrestlers on the independent circuit. Awesome performer. I love him to death. There's another story that I will likely share with you at a different time about how I should have trusted him, because if I did, I wouldn't have cut my arm to shreds. But again, another story. I can't give y'all all the juice in one episode, or otherwise, what are you going to subscribe to? But Simon Sermon, my opponent that night, at the time he was deep into his British invasion type deal. He would hold the microphone upside down. He had the full futuristic Star Trek bodysuit. God, like he was just on around this time. And what I love about him is what I love about the art of professional wrestling. It's theater at its most base. So he just knew how to get a rise out of people, how to get the most out of everything. Like, you knew you were watching a performance there. And he's still doing his thing. He's still getting down right now. If he's listening to this, all the love in the world to him. Yeah, I miss him. I haven't seen him in a while, but can't wait to get back up with him when it's that time. So I got the big setup, which is the Waleska Ball Field, the Madison Square Garden of Georgia independent wrestling venues. I locked in my rate for a full $25. Ballin'! Oh yeah, that $25 payday was like, whoo, whoo. Oh, boy, I was about to ball out. I could put cheese on it that night. You don't even know, like, trying to come up around that time. So I got my $25 payday on deck. You know, I'm jumping in the used Impala on the way over to the Waleska Ball Field to put it down one time. Now, for musicians, the way that they relate it is, hey, I got a feature with a really strong artist. I just got to kill my spot on that feature, and it can lead to some bigger things. This is exactly how I felt about this moment with Simon Sermon. I knew I had to knock this one, no pun intended, out of the park if I was going to get a chance to be able to come back and do some cooler stuff. Understandably, I'm jacked. I'm in the car that fateful Sunday, riding up to Waleska, Georgia, about 2 hours away from where I stay. I got the Nelly blasting because around the time the Sweatsuit album was out, so I done listened to Get Your Eagle On like 10 times, 15, 11 times on repeat. Oh, those were good times, simple times. Finally make it to the ball field, get my bag. I'm going inside, and like, at the time, I was in awe of, like, the talent that was around, because these were the guys on the Georgia independent scene that, like, I was waiting to rub elbows with, and they were here at this promotion. So, you know, you had Dan the Dragon, you had Ace Rockwell, Tank, Iceberg, all the guys that were worth talking about at the time on that come up. Kyle Matthews, the regular guys. I think this was before the Hollywood Brunette, so like Andrew Alexander, good stuff like that. And I just was really excited to be there, because ordinarily I was used to not getting these kind of chances. So I just knew that I needed to show them that I belong. And I know there were people in that locker room that were like, oh, this guy, that Captain Crunk guy, the yellow singlet guy. Like, yeah, that guy. The guy who is in your locker room right now, who's ready to show you that he belongs in this locker room. Don't get it twisted, son, you know? So I'm getting ready. I'm geared up. I'm ready to get down. And one of my mentors at the time, who was really trying to clean up my work, Murder One, was also there. So, you know, Murder makes sure that he lets me know. He's like, yo, man. Like, okay, Murder's like the best, worst motivational speaker ever, if you ever get the chance to just hear him talk his stuff. Because he would always get the gangster lean up against a wall. Like, even if there was no wall, a wall would just magically appear out of thin air, and he's just got the elbow posted up on it, right? Ordinarily, he's got, like, you know, a little something to smoke on. I can't speak to what's in it, but that's his business, nobody else's. But at the time, you know, he's talking to you like a stepfather that don't want to claim you but he got to raise you anyway. That was our relationship kind of around the time. But he's like, hey, yo, Captain Crow, I tell you right now, you don't make this thing happen tonight, ain't no coming back, homeboy. Ain't no coming back. That's it. That's the that's the line. I don't know if y'all are waiting for the punchline or anything like that. Like, nah, like that's how he laid it out to me. So I was definitely like super nerved up. Like I had to make this thing happen. I had put on for the city being Augusta, Georgia, but regardless, the city. So show's going on. They got a nice little house in, probably about anywhere from, about 150 to 200, which was like a great draw around that time. Outside show. For any of you that are professional wrestling aficionados, you will know what I'm talking about when I talk about the carts from WrestleMania 3. Those cool little carts that look like wrestling rings that they wheeled the wrestler down to the ring in, and then they got out and then they got in the ring because the ramp was so long. It was like, it was like the Oregon Trail trying to get to the ring. So we had a similar situation at the Waleska ball field. So we handled it in the most country way possible. Get you a truck. So there was this big, long dirt road that you had to go on from the field house to be able to get to the wrestling ring. So they got the Ford F-150, gas that thing up. They drive it from the ball field, and you get in the back in the truck bed, and you ride it all the way from the dirt road past the metal fence, and then they stop you like a little bit before the ring, and then you come out, you get hyped up, you do your thing and everything like that. So this was like the WrestleMania 3 carts on a country budget. Like I'm talking about countrified budget. That's what we were working with here. This is very important because this would be my downfall in this story. The matches are going on. Everybody's oohing and eyeing and popping. And this is awesome. And all that other good stuff. And the pressure is just mounting and mounting. I believe I was like the first match after intermission. And as a performer, that's super important in wrestling because you got to make sure that you bring them back. They've had a chance to grab a Coke, get their hot dog and whatnot. So you got to make sure you give them something when they come back to get excited about to clear out the rest of the show. That intermission ended and man, I was like a bundle of nerves. But I knew what I was there to do. I knew that I had promise and I had potential. And it was time that the people of Georgia Wrestling Promotions knew what I had to offer so that they would bring me back and keep me on this consistent basis of $25 a show. Because that was the come up, man. When you're going from a hot dog and a handshake to $25, that's like, that's immediate come up. So, like, I'm trying to keep this rolling. So, it comes around. Me and Simon, we've had our words and whatnot. I see him get on I see him get in the back of the F-150. He's got the British flag flying in the air and whatnot. So, which is even cooler because, the wind's blowing through the British flag. People are booing him. He's getting people all pissed off at him, talking in that thick British accent and whatnot. So now it was time for the hero that they needed. It was time for Captain Crook. What You Know About That by T.I. proceeds to come over the loudspeakers. Now, for those of you who don't know, What You Know About That is the greatest rap song every year, all year. It should just be on the Grammy Award nomination just because. All right? When I die, I respectfully request that song be played as they lower my body into the ground. Okay, now that we got that out the way, the first bars of that thing come on. I'm getting jacked. I'm rocking with it. What you know about that? What you know about that? What you know about that? I know all about that. I was good. I was set. I was jacked up. All the concerns and nervousness and any fears that I had went away as soon as that first bass came on. I was ready to get it on. So, all that was left, I just got to get in the truck and get to the ring. But in my youthful exuberance, I'm feeling it. Like, this is my track. This is my moment. This is exactly what Eminem was talking about when you better never let it go. Little did I know that the moment that I was about to make was about to be infamous. Infamous. I still get joked on to this day about this moment. I don't care much anymore because, like, the embarrassment factor is, like, pretty much all gone away. But still, it's just the fact that it happened. And again, it keeps me grounded. So, I'm at the field house. There's, like, a little bit of grass that you got to run through. And then, you know, you get to the dirt road, jump on the back of the truck, bam, they take you to the ring. So, me feeling myself, I go full sprint. I become a cheetah, a crunk cheetah with potential and promise to show the world. So, I'm tearing through the grass, and my intention is I'm going to go full sprint, hop into the truck bed. That way I get my adrenaline good and going. And then, you know, they whisk me to the ring, have an awesome match, come back. Oh, man, Captain Crunk, you the shit. Yeah, we got to bring you back. You know, $25, you know what I'm saying? You know, you need that. Yeah. So, the part that I failed to recognize in my plan is that as I'm running, there is a dip, a very big dip in the grass. It's not fairly obvious. It's like right when the road is about to meet the area where the grass is. So it's a pretty good dip. Like, you know, you put your foot in there like you're doing the electric slide, and then you just put your foot in there like you about to mess up the entire rotation. So I'm coming on my Usain Bolt. Go to make the leap into the truck. Foot goes to plant directly. Hold on. No. I don't think you understand. Let me say it the way The Rock used to get down on that. Directly into the dip. So my foot is caught, and instead of me using that to propel myself and spring myself into that F-150 truck bed, my face slams into the back of the truck. Well, the back left side of the truck, to be fair. Oh my God, it was embarrassing. And that just so happened to be the time that all the wrestlers were just outside in the field house, you know, like BSing, smoking, talking trash, whatever, watching the matches. Oh my God, like I caught it. Like I ate it. Like I had my daily serving of truck as a part of a balanced meal. And it was not pleasant. Like, oh, Jesus. It's like the kind of face slam when like the cop grabs you and just like puts you against like the car hood or whatever it is. Not that I know. Yeah, not that I know. But it was that kind of a slam. And like I was so embarrassed. Like I just kind of slid down. And it was one of those like, dude, what just happened? Like, no, I did not just do this. And I didn't realize I had did it until I heard, this dude just hit the truck. Oh my God, he shot at Wizard the truck. Oh my God. Just laughter. So I'm feeling defeated mentally at this point already. So all I try to do at this point is to pick my body up and place it into the Ford F-150. Failing to realize one little detail. My head is directly positioned under the truck bed. So I shoot my head up real fast to try to recover, play it off, keep it moving, and proceed to slam the back of my head under the freaking truck. So I go up and do like a flapjack push-up. So bop, boom, right back down. Oh my God. So I already had like a YouTube. I know YouTube was like in its early stages. This is what makes me so happy that camera phones, like, you had them, but they weren't as prominent back then. Thank God, because I would have been stuck. Like, this would have been one of the ones they would have been looping over and over and over. If Vine, God bless his soul, was still out, like, the loops would be out of control. They'd be fruity. I was thoroughly embarrassed. And I just don't see where a promoter would think that you're just full of potential and promise when you're slamming into trucks twice. So I roll my carcass, fortunately unconcussed, into the back of the truck. And I'm talking about, like, I did the Incredible Hulk sad walk roll into the truck bed. So it's just bling, 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 bling. Bling, 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 bling. Real slow. Fighting back the tears. Fighting back the pain. I just gingerly set myself in the truck bed. Securely make sure that nothing else could go wrong. And my countrified chariot whisked me away to my match with Simon Sermon. Fortunately, everything went fine for what it was. And I was not called back immediately to do anything. But I think like 2 or 3 months later, I was officially called back, did some more work with them, and got a lot of good experience out of working with Georgia Wrestling Promotions, especially for that time around there. But man, did that story ride me in every freaking Southern locker room I went to. I got tired of seeing people at the same shows that I was at that show, because I guarantee you it was going to come up in conversation. But it was humbling. And it always keeps me humble. And it's cool to be able to get on this show and be able to talk about that now in that context. To be able to just point out that, yeah, back then I really didn't have the sauce. But now I do. Or at least in my opinion, I feel like I got a lot of sauce. I can still refine it. I can still put it on all sorts of new recipes and meals that are going to come my way. But that recipe weren't quite what it needed to be back then. But a little bit more time in the oven, a few mistakes, and here we are. The Sugardunkerton that you know and you love right now at this moment. And for those who don't know me and don't love me, we can still change that. We're still in the getting to know you phase. We're still in the honeymoon phase of this show. Never forget that. Well, everyone, it's that time. This is that part of the show where it's kind of like the end of the one night stand. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't sleep over. So, I already got your Uber called. If you're hungry, I got a little money for some Checkers or some, McDonald's. They're open late night. We should do it again sometime. Just can't sleep over. It's too much like a commitment. Nah, I'm messing. Nah, I totally would let you sleep over until the next day. I might even make you breakfast. I can't thank you enough for taking your time to allow me to talk a little bit about the success, the stress, and the mess that goes along with trying to chase a dream. And I look very forward to sharing more of these experiences and stories and being able to find out a little bit more about yours as this show continues on and evolves. Sugardunkertonbro at gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. And also don't forget FUNNY.CASH.SHOWS.podbean.com. That's the landing page. Again, we are available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. If you're using any of those platforms, you want to make absolutely sure that you subscribe so that I can get all up in your area, like DJ Rand used to say, and you never miss a beat with me. I want to be that commitment in your life that you just can't shake. Like a good partner in your relationship, or a great gym plan, or child support. There's just no shaking me. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Funny Cash Shows. Holla back. This is Sugar D here, just letting you know that I do appreciate you for allowing me to slide in your MP3s right quick this week. If you wish to support the show and by proxy me, feel free to visit www.prowrestlingtees.com/Sugardunkerton. I got the threads that turn some heads. Please order a shirt, look good in the process. Treat yourself 2017. Also, you can feel free to make a donation to the show by using the crowdsource link that's available on this landing page at FUNNY.CASH.SHOWS.podbean.com, or you can hit me direct at paypal.me/SugD. paypal.me/SugD, please. We appreciate the money that jingles, but we'll gladly take the money that folds. Sugardunkertonbro at gmail.com for any kind of bookings, whether it be hosting, professional wrestling, which is my main gig, as well as any other fun stuff that you want to send me. I'm all for it. Also, if you are looking for advertisement or to be a sponsor on the show, please email me, Sugardunkertonbro at gmail.com. Not only are my drops plenty nice, but I also have got a lovely price if you're trying to make sure that you get some ears on whatever your brand or product is. Have a good one. I'll see you next week. Take care.